Welcome back. I'm Neil Chase, author of Iron Dogs and writer-director of Spin the Wheel. And today we're diving into another villain archetype, one that's both tragic and terrifying, the Corrupted. By the end of this video, you'll understand what makes the Corrupted such a powerful archetype, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how to use them well in your own stories. So grab your popcorn, let's get started. First, let's talk about what an archetype actually is. This is a character type that shows up in stories across different cultures and time periods. You see them in myths, legends, books, movies, even video games. Think of them as story blueprints. Writers take them, put their own spin on them, and make them unique. Now, villain archetypes follow familiar patterns, much like hero archetypes, but there's one big difference. Heroes evolve through struggle and growth, overcoming flaws and fears, while villains resist change, often doubling down on their worst qualities. And while some villains were always evil, the Corrupted, they had a choice. And at some point, they made the wrong one. These are the villains who were once good but fell from grace, or those in power who should be good but for some reason aren't. Some start with good intentions but lose their way, while others abuse positions of power for personal gain instead of helping those around them. They exist in all forms, from corrupt cops, politicians, to people whose souls have been tainted by greed, ambition, or even supernatural forces. More than any other archetype, they embody the theme of moral decay. And maybe that's why we find them so fascinating. Unlike outright evil villains, the Corrupted started out on the right path or held positions where they were expected to do good. But somewhere along the line, they made a choice that led to their downfall, whether out of desperation, self-interest, or disillusionment. The Corrupted can undergo a disturbing shift in character, and they end up using manipulation and control to abuse their authority to maintain power or justify their actions. And it's for this reason that the Corrupted feels real. Their fall from grace reflects human weakness, how power, greed, or even fear can twist people into something monstrous. They serve as a cautionary tale, showing how even good people can go bad. And in some cases, we even sympathize with them, making their downfall all the more tragic. Now, the Corrupted has some key strengths. First is their authority and influence. Their position of power makes them dangerous. Unlike mindless henchmen, the Corrupted often have the means to impose their will on others, whether it's through political control, law enforcement, or corporate dominance. For an example, look at Alonzo Harris in Training Day. As a corrupt cop, he manipulates those around him while presenting himself as an authority figure who's also fighting to make a difference, making his fall all the scarier. Next, they have a deep personal connection to the hero in some way. Often they were once allies, mentors, or even family members. But this tends to add emotional weight to their conflict, as the hero must reckon with the fall of someone they once admired, loved, or trusted. A prime example is Jack Torrance in The Shining. His descent into madness is terrifying because he was once a loving father and husband, making his transformation feel both tragic and somehow inevitable. Then there's their moral complexity. The best Corrupted villains have justifications for their actions, making them at once sympathetic and repulsive. They don't often see themselves as evil, but more as realists or even victims of circumstance, which tends to make them even more dangerous. As an example, look at Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven. A brutal sheriff who believes he's enforcing justice, but ultimately he dispenses it at will, rather than by the letter of the law. And in doing so, he becomes the evil he claims to fight against. And finally, there's their emotional weight. Their fall from grace makes them more complex and tragic, and audiences are drawn to stories of moral decay because they feel personal and deeply human. Watching someone slowly succumb to corruption makes for a pretty compelling and heartbreaking journey. Is there a better example than Michael Corleone in The Godfather? I mean, he's a war hero who only wants to protect his family and live outside the mob, but step by step, he embraces the darkness, transforming into the very criminal he swore he wouldn't. And of course, the Corrupted have weaknesses as well. First is their blindness to their own corruption. They rarely see themselves as villains, believing their actions are somehow justified, which often prevents them from recognizing the harm that they cause others. Look at Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. He sees greed as a virtue, fully convinced that he's doing the right thing, making him pretty oblivious to the damage, extensive damage, he inflicts on others. Next is their hubris and overconfidence. Their belief in their own righteousness often leads to their own downfall. They assume they're untouchable, which blinds them to outside threats. Take a look at Captain Bligh in Mutiny on the Bounty. His abuse of power and arrogance make him believe he's pretty much untouchable on his own ship, leading to the mutiny against him by his own crew. Next is their own self-destruction. Their corruption often consumes them, either physically, mentally, or both. This heightened level of moral decay can lead to paranoia, recklessness, or even a complete breakdown. Look at Norman Stansfield in The Professional. His unchecked brutality and arrogance ultimately lead to his own violent demise, as his corruption catches up with him at a level that grows beyond his ability to control. And finally, though they usually have a chance at redemption, they tend to refuse it. Many corrupted villains have a moment where they could turn back, but their pride or ambition prevents them from doing so. This moment often defines whether they could have been saved or if they were doomed all along. Take a look at Mrs. Iselin in The Manchurian Candidate. Rather than stop manipulating her son for personal gain and power, she doubles down, sealing her own fate and proving that she was beyond redemption all along. And here are some more iconic examples of the corrupted and why they stand out. Claude Frollo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. A religious official who believes himself righteous while committing cruel and oppressive acts, blinded by his own hypocrisy. Regan McNeil in The Exorcist. Though she's an innocent, she becomes a literal corruption of that innocence through demonic possession, showing that the corrupted can sometimes be influenced by outside forces. Frank Booth in Blue Velvet. A sadistic criminal who indulges in depravity, proving that corruption isn't always about power. Sometimes it's about inner decay. Mayor Vaughn in Jaws. A politician who prioritizes economic gain over public safety, refusing to act until the consequences of his greed are undeniable. The governor in The Walking Dead. A seemingly charismatic leader who turns his community into a dictatorship, resorting to violence and manipulation to maintain power. Livia Soprano in The Sopranos. A matriarch who manipulates and betrays her own family, using emotional and psychological tactics to maintain her control. Dorian Gray in The Picture of Dorian Gray. A man whose descent into corruption is reflected in his own decaying portrait, embodying internal decay and unchecked hedonism. The corrupted villain is a great archetype because it represents moral downfall. Whether they started as good people or were always in positions of power, their descent makes them both tragic and terrifying. And in order to make your corrupted villain stand out even more, consider giving them a meaningful fall from grace moment. Let their corruption feel organic by crafting a defining choice where they step onto the dark path, whether out of fear, ambition, or necessity. Make their motivations understandable, and don't be afraid to show some inner conflict. They were once good people, so there should still be some of that good person left inside to showcase moments of doubt or regret. The best corrupted villains don't see themselves as evil. Show their perspective so the audience can at least understand, if not agree with, their choices. And make them a cautionary figure. Highlight their similarities to the hero to create a meaningful contrast. The corrupted are powerful because they represent what the hero, or ultimately the audience, could become under different circumstances. But hey, these are just my 2 cents. Give me yours. Let me know in the comments below what quality of a corrupted character most resonates with you. Is it their fall from grace, or maybe their belief that they're still the good guy? Or is it something else? And if you'd like to support my channel and see more content like this, please click the links below to check out my work. My novel Iron Dogs is available in ebook, print, and audiobook, and my latest film Spin the Wheel is out now on Tubi. And if you're looking for help with your own story, contact me on my webpage, neilchasefilm.com, through the link below, and let's talk. I've helped writers, filmmakers, and producers improve their stories and scripts, especially when it comes to the characters, dialogue, and action. And if you'd like more unique storytelling tips to take your fiction to the next level, click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with the latest content. Until next time, stay creative.